Jesus praises the group of believers in the first century city of Philadelphia. They have kept his word and not denied his name. So he says in chapter 3, verse 9, I will make those who are of the synagogue of Satan, who claim to be Jews, though they are not, but are liars, I will make them come and fall down at your feet and acknowledge that I have loved you. The synagogue in Philadelphia was an adversary to the Christian church. And here Jesus uses symbolic language to call it the synagogue of the adversary, Satan. The people claimed to be Jews, which is symbolic language for God's people. But Jesus says, no, not really. Genetically, ethnically, they were Jewish, but they were not living up to what the symbolism meant. They were not following the Messiah God had sent them, so they were not living up to the name they claimed for themselves. They were not acting like God's people. And Jesus predicts a role reversal here. Instead of the Gentiles coming and falling at the feet of the Jews, like it predicts in Isaiah 45:14, now the Jewish people will come to fall at the feet of the Christians and admit that the Christians were right after all. Jesus says in verse 10, since you have kept my command to endure patiently, I will also keep you from the hour of trial that is going to come on the whole world to test the inhabitants of the earth. The Christians in Philadelphia had been faithful, even in times of persecution. So Christ promises to preserve them from some future difficulty. It's difficult for us to know what this difficulty is and how Jesus keeps them away from it. Some commentators say it refers to the Great Tribulation that will occur shortly before Jesus returns. But the Christians in Philadelphia are all dead now. Whether faithful or not, they don't have to go through the Great Tribulation. And Jesus is not giving a blanket promise to all faithful Christians that they will not experience any persecutions or tribulations. It seems to refer to some persecution that would happen in the Roman Empire in the late first century. But we don't have enough information to know how Christians in ancient Philadelphia would have been spared from that. For us today, we are simply left with the fact that we are supposed to be faithful, whether or not we are persecuted, and whether or not Christ gives us a way to escape. He is faithful, and he lives in us, so we can be faithful as well.